I brought her dinner, and I was coming in, and she's standing at the door of the garage, and I'm getting the mail and everything. I said, what do you need? And she said, well, who's that man there in the garage? I said, where? She says, there's a live man right there in the garage. I said, no, Mom, it's not. And I'm sorry to ask, is it Dad? I mean, like she didn't specify, but it spooked me a little bit. She was so adamant, like, you don't see him right there? And I'm like, well, I'm starting to now that you say it. And so a few minutes later, we have our little, I call it kitchenette. It's our little snack station upstairs. And I was putting stuff in. I didn't know Ken was coming in, and I just saw his foot come around the door. I was like, oh, Jesus. Like, I wasn't expecting you yet. And he was like, why are you so scared? I said, Mom just convinced me there was a man in the garage. And then I'm like, oh my God, there he is.
It might be Joe. You know, they walked all over. She had a hold of his arm, and they walked all over and talked about what she wanted when they first bought the house.
It could be.
Hey, Jim, can we all be aware also that Dr. Sheila, there's a big probability that her spirit is here right now?
Well, hang on, because I'm going to talk about that.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Metron Live podcast coming to you from the Atlanta Theater. Metron people, would you please welcome the podcast people? Depending on how this next little section goes, I may or may not do a teaching today. We'll just see. I'm just in the flow today. Everybody here, I'm sure, knows that a week ago today, Dr. Sheila went to the other side. Actually, it was in the middle of the night. It was like around 2:15 Monday morning, so Sunday night, Monday morning. And I want to weigh my words today because I'm very aware that there's a family that's grieving their loss, who have a different relationship with her than her spiritual family. And I don't know who may watch this or who may be watching right now, so I'm not trying to offend anybody. I'm just saying people perceive relationships differently. 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, somewhere in there, Dr. Sheila had a aortic aneurysm that she didn't know she had that ruptured. Typically, that's instantaneous passing out, but there was some, or passing over, but some way where her stomach was situated, it kept her from bleeding out. So they ended up doing a surgery, and there were complications from that surgery. They ended up doing a second surgery days later, and there were more complications from that. I was not made aware of any of this until nearly 3 days after it happened, which was, to say it was a shock was an understatement. And I was told that people had tried to get in touch with me and couldn't, which I don't know how that could be possible, but if that's, I want to give them the benefit of the doubt that they were in grief or in crisis mode and weren't aware that I should have been notified as soon as something happened. I don't know that this thing would have played out differently had I been. I have no way of knowing. I would like to have tried. I would like to have been a part of it and asking people to pray and stuff. But so by the time I heard about it, of course, I drove immediately to the hospital. And, I wasn't happy about, why haven't you guys, 2 days? Why haven't you told me? It's enough. I told Ernie and Avery last week, I said, tell your sons if something ever happens to one of y'all to get in touch with me. Make sure they know how to get in touch with me. I think I'm the easiest person in the world. Good Lord, people get in touch with me 24 freaking hours a day. I'm like, somebody knows how to do it. And, they even got in touch with Debbie before they got in touch with me. She called me. I said, what? She says, I said, why are they calling you? I don't know. Anyway, it's fine. It's, yes, I'm on the way to the hospital. So when I got there, you know, she was already on a ventilator and on dialysis and tubes everywhere and was unconscious. And in the time that I was there, or that she was there, which was a little over 2 weeks, and Leslie, who's been one of her closest friends for 30 years, didn't even know. I messaged her. I said, "Are you aware of what's happened to Dr. Sheila?" Of course she didn't know. They got in the car, drove up immediately. And in those days that she was there, I think I went to the hospital 10 times and only made contact with her once. That was two Sundays ago. I got there, and there was lots of family members who were concerned, you know, didn't want me to approach her bed, and she's got to stay calm. And I'm like, what do you think? What do you think I'm going to do? Well, just don't come in with any emotions. I'm like, are you kidding me? And somebody else says, don't go near the bed, you have cologne on. I'm like, y'all know I've been in an ICU unit, like lots of times. I don't know that they have been, but I've been in that particular room probably in the last 53 years, 10 or 11 times. I mean, I know my way around that hospital. I know my way around all hospitals in the Atlanta area. And so again, they don't know me the way Doc knew me, so I can't fault them for that. That's, you know, they have a different relationship. Don't really know mine. And so long story short, during the days, I was able, she has 3 adult children, and at different times I was able to communicate with each of them, and in fairness, they did keep me abreast of the situation. Last Wednesday, I think I told you this last week, the day before Thanksgiving, I called one of the daughters that was, seemed to be the easiest one to communicate with. And I said, look, I want to come up and see your mom. I just need to make sure that she knows I've been up there. That one Sunday when I was being shushed and whatever, Dr. Sheila heard, I know y'all can't believe this, but I got a little sarcastic. I know you're shocked. But I was finally like, what do y'all think I'm going to do? I just want to, you know, she's not only my friend and my doctor, I've been her pastor for over 25 years. I mean, this is pretty typical, you know. And she opened her eyes. It's the only contact we made. I walked over to her bed. I said, Doc, your family is concerned about me getting you riled up. I just need to make sure that you know I'm here. Do you know who I am? And she, with her too, she was I said, okay, good. I'm glad. So fast forward to the day before Thanksgiving, I called her daughter and I said, look, I want to come see your mom, but I just feel like it's, every time I come up, I feel like I'm not sure y'all want me there, and I'm not trying to make this about me, but your mom's like real important to me. And, you know, regardless of what y'all think about me, I'm real important to her. And I said, I just need to feel like I can come up there and talk to her and have a minute with her where y'all aren't worried that I'm going to make the situation worse. And to her credit, she said, I understand. I'll be on shift from 9 to 1 on Thanksgiving. If you come up during that time, I'll be sure that you could see her with no interference. I said, okay, I'll be there 11 o'clock, which we were. And good for her word. Yes, she was there. Doc was unconscious and nearly unrecognizable. But I was able to have plenty, I was not rushed. And I was sobbing. But I said, Doc, I'm just going to believe you can hear me, so I'm going to speak to your spirit. And I said, of course, I want you to pull through this. But I said, I'm looking at you hooked up to all these machines and everything. I know you would not want this. So if you're not going, if you don't have it in you to fight through this, I mean, she's 80, then for what it's worth, you got my permission to go on. I want you to be at peace. I don't want this. and I don't think you would want this. And I went through a litany of things. I said, I want to thank you for this. I want to thank you. And it was a beautiful moment that I wouldn't take anything for. And even Ken was out in the hall. I said, can he come in for a minute? Which she was fine with that. And he came in. Of course, he was sobbing. And he said to her, he said, you know, Dr. Swilley, you always told me to, hug heart to heart. And he said, I can't reach you through all this, but I'm hugging you heart to heart. And we had a beautiful time, hard but beautiful, that I really needed. I'm sorry, I don't want to make this about me, but I needed to see her as much as she, you know what I mean? Anyway, that was the last I saw her. And then last Sunday, the same daughter messaged me and said they're moving her into hospice care. I said, well, I'll come up right now. She says, no, please don't. We just want the family to be with her now. I said, oh, okay. I said, will you at least let me know when she goes? And so around 2:15 in the morning, she texted me and said, Dr. Sheila's passed. And that's the last contact I've had with any of them until I didn't know. They're doing not a funeral, but an open house at her office next Saturday. I'm not a part of that. I didn't even know about it until Leslie messaged me this week. She said, are you involved in this? I said, I don't know anything about it. It's the first I've seen that you're sending me this. Day before yesterday, one of them messaged me and told me I needed to come pick up the birds. And in that text said, by the way, we're doing a thing next Saturday for her. Didn't ask me to participate, just information. I said, okay, I'm probably not going to be able to come to that, but I said all that to say, I'm going to say today what I would have said in a service for her, if that's okay with y'all, because I know you love her too. So I'm going to say some things. I'm going to give you a chance if you want to say something, because it's what I normally do at services anyway. BJ did a little video for her, and I also put together a video that I just want. You're going to see some repeat pictures. He used some of the same ones I used, which pretty much he took them all. And thank God, I wrote him this or posted online. I said, BJ, as far as I can tell, I think you took every one of these pictures, and thank God that you did. I said, you have a gift of freezing a moment and giving it eternal life, and I can't thank you enough for that. People that may think it's over the top to carry a photographer with you, I'm like, I don't think so. I think there's moments that if you didn't have that moment, you forget that it happened. So you will see, even in the video I did, you'll see some repeats, but every one of them are beautiful. I sent mine to Michelle last night, and she texted me. She said, I hope Dr. Sheila knew how beautiful she was. And she's, I'm crying looking at these pictures. And so I'm going to show BJ's video first, then I'm going to say some things, and then I'll leave it up to you. And if this goes the whole time, fine. If it doesn't, if we've said our piece, then I'll give you a little teaching before you go. But we need this. I need this. And Doc needs this. So let's, I can't, BJ is more than a photographer. He doesn't, he's here in the morning and gets stuff. He's been doing this for a long time. But on days like today, I think, dear God, what would I do without you? Because these moments, we've had some of those amazing moments on beaches and in mountains. They've just been, I'm so glad we've captured that. And BJ was telling me, he said, I hope it doesn't upset you when you see these pictures to see so many people that used to be a part of Metron that aren't. I said, it used to, but I think this is where it came up about us talking about having to make peace. I said, I've had to make peace with it. And I said, this is what I believe. Metron is bigger than this group of people. As a matter of fact, that little message that I posted that somebody said, I wanted to see Dr. Sheila, but I didn't have the money for it. And somehow my rotator cuff got healed in the middle of the night. People thought that was me. It wasn't. It's a relative of mine that wrote that who'd never met Dr. Sheila. She's actually Jensen Franklin's ex-mother-in-law. And people don't read, they're like, I'm glad your shoulder's feeling better. I'm like, it's not me. Dr. Sheila never even charged me for seeing her. If she charged you, don't be mad, but she didn't charge me. I didn't ask her for that, but she did. But anyway, this person was saying, I just wanted to meet her. And I don't know if it was God or Dr. Sheila. I'm like, wow, both. Which is what I was saying about the membrane effacing. When Jesus came out of the tomb, so did a lot of other people. There was, in Matthew's account, it says there were people that had been buried for years that came out like Night of the Living Dead and walking around. And you used you wrote in there like Elijah's bones. I'm like, exactly. So people are going in and out. And you're right, yeah, it could have been Joe. He might be upset that Ken tacked up stuff over his wrought iron to keep that cat off his car. You can still see half of it. Joe he wasn't just an iron worker, he was an artist. I mean, the stuff that he created it was just beautiful. So yeah, it could be, on the Mount of Transfiguration, Moses and Elijah popped in. And the disciples knew who they were. They weren't even surprised. So I'm thinking maybe that happened or will happen again. I don't know. Anyway, let me show you this. Let me finish this thought. What I said to him, I said, this is what I feel about Metron. And I don't know, there's some issue right now with Judah's landlord here. I'm not sure. I don't know where we're going to be this time next year. And I said, I'm not even worried about it because for whatever Metron is, I said, this group of people, I mentioned that about the person who messaged me, because Metron is more than just a handful of people that come here on Sundays. And I'm not, believe me, I need y'all to come out. I'm not belittling that in any way. I'm just saying this is the tip of the iceberg. And I said, for whatever it is, we're about to enter our 14th year, is that right? 12th year? 12th year, yeah. This little, whatever we have here, it's super special. You've messaged me a lot, seeing it through your eyes as a newcomer and what it's meant to you. And it confirms what I think. I'm like, yeah, it's not a church. I don't know what it is, but it's something special. And Sheila Bellinger was a part of that from the beginning.
Yes.
And
Jim, we met for a year in a park when we,
yeah.
So wherever we meet next, if this is coming to an end, there's
Move with the cloud, yes.
We're going to be together.
Yes.
Together.
Yes.
Agreed. Let me show you this, and then I'm going to say some things. to-
We've been having problems with the internet this morning,
Okay.
and it just keeps popping in and out.
See what you can do, and I'll talk a little bit. We'll work on it. Charles, if people want to say something, will it pick up on my mic, or do I need a?
It'll make it easy to get your mic.
Say what? I was thinking this morning. I was trying to remember. I don't remember meeting Doc, but my first impression of her was, and I had not thought of this till this morning. I wrote A Year in the Now in 2001. So we're approaching 25 years. And a lot of it now doesn't even sound like the way I talk. I mean, it's some things held in a time capsule, which Avery says people still buy. I don't know.
I'm sending one out on Monday.
I don't know who's buying them, but they have been, so, that's good. But I remember we were in what at the time was the 401 building. It's not even 404 building. It's not even there now. They've removed it. But it was a big crowd. It might have been, I think we used to do those new members dinners quarterly, and that's when all the new members would get connected with their care pastors. Because I remember it was a big dinner we had, probably 150, 200 people in there. And I was just walking through the crowd talking to people, and I overheard this conversation. These two women said, "Have you got A Year in the Now?" And another one said, "Oh, I already read that. That's like that Eckhart Tolle, The Power of Now. He just got that from him." And I thought, no, I didn't even read that book. But Doc overheard that. And she said, "Excuse me, I've read The Power of Now, and it's fine. It's good. But A Year in the Now is nothing like The Power of Now." So that didn't come, he didn't get that. I mean, she just took them to task, like a mama bear. And I didn't want to get into it because they were new members. But I was like, "Thank you, nice lady." Because that was the truth. I'm like, for whatever my stuff is, it is original. I mean, if I, which I quote people frequently, but if I do, I credit whoever I'm quoting. I mean, I always say, it's like so-and-so said, or whatever. So that was when she was first on my radar screen. And I didn't even respond to it, but I thought, she told y'all. Be judging my literary work. She said, "I've read both of those. They are nothing alike." Like, thank you, nice lady. I'm not sure of your name yet, but I appreciate that. And BJ, what are you doing? You're right.
I'll make sure I don't tumble down these stairs.
Okay, you've had your workout now. Fast forward, I don't remember the first time. I didn't go to her as a chiropractor a whole lot. I mean, she was more than a chiropractor. She put a lot of streams of healing, more than just chiropractic. But if I ever needed her, and her methods were unconventional. She didn't crack and pop you like most of them do. She used, there was a activator that she would, and it would seem like it was such a small thing. You'd think, how is this going to help? But sure enough, a few hours later, you'd be like, you know what? That worked. And I asked her one time, I said, how does it, it would just go like, and it didn't hurt or anything. You could barely feel it. And I asked her one time, I said, how does it make that much of a difference? She said, you just have to know how to aim it. She had studied physiology and knew that, and sure enough, it worked. And one thing I thanked her for through tears the other day is this. I don't remember how many years ago it was, but it was on a Christmas Eve. We were binge watching something, and when I stood up from the couch, I'd sat in one position for it's the worst pain I've ever had in my life. I couldn't even stand up. And I called her and said, Doc, I am so sorry to be calling you on Christmas Eve, but I don't know what to do. There's no position I can get in that's bearable. I mean, I don't even know how I'm going to ride. I mean, he drove, but I don't know how I'm going to get a car. I mean, it was literally like, oh my God. And she says, come right now. And on Christmas Eve, she met me and adjusted me and saved my life. And, you know, I just appreciated that so much. And, you know, I never, ever would have asked her for free service, but she wouldn't even let me. When I used to take my parents out there, because she would do all these different things like that foot bath that you put in that detoxifies you and all kind of stuff. And I mean, every time I would say, you have to let me pay you for this. And she just wouldn't hear of it. And even I never one time asked her to do this, but when my mom was in assisted living, she would drive over there and adjust her and her poodles. Don't ask. And Mom said it helped. Okay. And, you know, then, y'all remember, God, it's been nearly 2 years ago now. The assisted living, you have to pay a lot of money for an animal. And they only allow one. They let me bring a second one. They charged me out the wazoo for it, but they did break the rules and let me bring the two horrible old poodles from Pet Cemetery that we don't know how they're still alive. But she also had these little finches. I think there's only 2 of them now. There might have been 3. They're tiny birds, but they're in a large aviary. It's like a big piece of furniture. And so I thought I was going to move that over there for her. And they said, no, that would be that would be considered 4 or 5 animals. You can't. And I said, I don't know what I'm going to do. To which Mom said, well, you'll just have to come by and pick me up every day and we'll drive over there and feed him. I'm like, no, that's not the plan for assisted living, to give me more things to do. And I didn't ask Doc to do this, but you know, when she would go to Mom's house, she told her, if you ever need me to take these birds, I will. And she did. And her son, to his credit, came and picked up that aviary and took it. And they've been there for nearly 2 years now. And I've been instructed now to come get him, and I don't know how I'm going to do that because I don't have any vehicle to pick up that big piece of furniture. So I've got to figure out how to. They've given me a few days grace, so I've got to figure out how I'm going to respond to that. At this point, I don't think Mom even remembers them really, but when I know it seems like a small thing, but at the time, she took such a weight off me. When I said, Mom, Dr. Sheila's going to take your birds, and she was happy with that. She said, well, she'll be good to them. And that's when I told y'all, maybe this is where all the other people left, that said, I hate to tell y'all now, I already love Dr. Sheila, but she's now my favorite person. I mean, I love y'all, but the fact that she took these birds, and this is one less thing I got to deal with, I can't thank you enough. And it's been nearly a year ago now, she made me a quilt with the T-shirts. I ran the Peach Road race about 30 times. I only had about 15 the T-shirts still after all these years. And she made me a quilt. It's a masterpiece, the way she did it. And that's when I told y'all, I said, you know, she was already my favorite, but now she's pulled so far in the lead now. I mean, y'all can try. Y'all want to try to curry favor with me, but I don't think she's so far out ahead of everybody. And, you know, you got to be careful saying stuff like that because some people don't realize that you're sort of halfway kidding. But I did, I mean, it's TMI, but I did tell Judah, because when he started his church, it was largely people from Church of the Now. And it's not necessarily now, but it was at the time. And I said, look, I'm just going to tell you something. You can pastor anybody you want to, but if you try to get Dr. Sheila in your church, we're going to have a problem. You know, I said, I might fight over her. And he agreed. Oh, you got mine going on now? Okay. Okay, that's fine. We'll just keep doing that. So I was able to thank her for all of those things on last Thanksgiving. And I'm just going to believe that she heard me. I think that was everything I wanted to thank her for. And obviously coming here and always being on the, no matter how radical it was, whatever I taught, she was into it, you know. For a woman of her age, she was extremely progressive. And one thing, speaking of my quilt, it's okay if I read what you texted me about the quilt? Because I posted it, but here's my, if you don't know my MO, if you post a comment on Facebook, I might shoot it and post it because you put your name on it. If you privately send me something, I may screenshot it, but I don't put your name because I don't know that you, because that was a personal message. And if it's something super personal, I don't post that. Y'all all knew that, right? Thank you, Ed. I see your text. Thank you. I love you too. But when we left on Thanksgiving from the hospital, we went by the loft, and the quilt's hanging in there, and I kind of lost it for a minute when I saw that. But Tricia said, Brother Jim, I feel your heart today. The loss of someone as special as Dr. Sheila, someone you loved dearly and someone you knew loved you without reservation, brings a kind of ache that defies description. Even so, like the beautiful quilt that she stitched together for you with such intention and love, she has become a part of you. Her quiet presence, her wisdom, her gentleness, they've been sewn into the very fabric of your being. You're a really good writer. She is with you not only in your memories, but she lives within you and through you forever. Since I got this, let me read you what this person wrote me. This was a few hours after she passed. This is a family member that I haven't seen in, I can't even remember when I saw her. But I think she obviously watches Metron because she knew who Dr. Sheila was. She says, this seems a little crazy. I've had left shoulder rotator cuff pain for at least 3 months and am left-handed. I've been wanting to see Dr. Sheila but just didn't have the extra money, and now it's too late. I've even had to sleep with a pillow under my arm. Last night when I went to bed, I audibly heard my shoulder pop, and the pain is gone. I don't know if God answered a prayer or Dr. Sheila is making house calls. And that was what I was saying about the membrane. It's like sometimes, I think we've talked about this before, about the concept of parting gifts. That sometimes when someone leaves this dimension, they pass out some gifts before they go to the other side. And you know how much I've probably referred to Leona more since she passed than when she was here. Because the last thing Leona said to me a few hours before she crossed over, because I said, I want you to pull through this. And I said, I want to pull through mine because I have the same thing that Dr. Sheila had. And I'm going in for a few weeks for an echocardiogram. They believe it's shrinking, and that's what I'm believing. But that's why I don't want y'all to stress me out. Because I got to keep it zen. Before you send me a message, think, is this going to stress him out? And if it is, just don't. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh, Leona said, I want to pull through too. But she was so calm when she said this. She says, I'm going to be with you whether I'm on this side or the other side. She says, you're not getting rid of me. I'm always going to be with you. And on more than one occasion, there was one night I don't remember what was going on with me. He was staying out at work, and I had chest pain serious enough that I was thinking, do I need to call 911? I mean, what do I need to do? And I talked to Leona. I said, Leona, if you got any pull on that side, I'm not ready to go yet. Put it in a word for me, and I want you to know the pain stopped. Now, those of you that came out of the Roman Catholic Church are fine with that because you're used to calling on ancestors, but Protestants were taught not to do that. That's why I've quoted Wellington so many times about when we went to Cherokee and he said, you've made it okay for us to communicate with ancestors. Because when the Europeans came, they told the Africans, don't talk to your ancestors. And the Africans are like, we've been doing this for since the beginning of time. And so anyway, I just thought that was interesting that I got that message from this family member that I talk to maybe once a year, and if she's watching today, thank you for sending me that because I think that was kind of amazing. And several others of you sent really great messages, but I think that I think that's everything I wanted to say. And thanks for letting me love her the way that I did and do and will continue to. And I speak a blessing over her family. Any of you family members that may hear what I've said, please don't be offended. I understand you have a different relationship with her, that maybe you don't know about this part of her life. But this part of her life was very real. And the last time she was here, there was a picture. There's that picture where she's standing right there. She brought somebody that day. I said, I'm so glad you're here. She said, I had to hear what you had to say about in a beginning. So I'm very interested in that. And because it's a lot for an 80-year-old woman to drive from Conyers and find a parking space. And I would always text her, let me know if you can't find a space, and Kim will park your car. We'll find something. BJ will. And she'd always say, no, I'm fine, I got it. And so that's what I wanted to say. We'll take some observances if you want to say whatever you want to say. And you don't have to come up here. You can just do it from right where you are. I'll just bring you the microphone so that it's picked up. Do you want to add anything to what you said to her the other day? Or do you want to wait? I know. Yeah. We're still a little messed up about it, And let me tell you, two things are true at once. I'm glad she's not suffering anymore. I mean, when I got that text, there was a sense of relief. I'm glad. The last thing I wanted to drive up to St. Joseph Hospital today and look at her in ICU. I'm glad that's over. But you can feel two things at once, And it's okay to feel the grief. When people say, don't cry, they're in a better place, that's real insensitive. You're supposed to cry. You're supposed to, and that should continue for as long as you need to. Anybody want to say anything? What some memory you had of her, or something that was meaningful to you?
Jim, I'd like to say that I don't.
Hand that up, Jim.
Although I guess I've been coming here for 12 years, and over these years I've seen Dr. Sheila, but I didn't feel like I knew Dr. Sheila. Like she was very reserved and private. But she had a certain, just a calmness about her. And I don't know why her death has affected me in the way it has.
Yeah.
For me not to have felt that real closeness to her. But in the days that was leading up, I think we all kind of knew that she wasn't going to make it. And in the days leading up to the day she passed, it just really has thrown me emotionally in a tailspin since then.
Yeah.
Because I see my own death in her.
Yeah.
I see my own end
You'd
of
be
days.
lying not to say it. Don't think I haven't thought of it.
Yeah.
too.
And even, I was so shocked yesterday or the day before, I started to post off by saying 60 years ago when I was a 10-year-old boy. And then I thought, holy crap.
60 years
60
ago.
years ago when I was a 10-year-old boy. I've observed her. There was something about her that reminded me of my Granny Bratcher, who didn't go around spouting her business, kept to herself, but you sensed there was a strength there. I did sense, I know nothing about her or that family, but I did sense that her plate had been full in life dealing with stuff, you know. And I would tell you about what you went through trying to see her, that I've noticed over the years, families get pretty damn kooky when somebody dies a lot of times.
Agreed.
The last funeral.
And I'm giving them that grace.
Yeah, they get kooky. The last funeral I did down at that Cowan or something in Covington, the last funeral, I went in, they said, we have security provided for you, for your safety. One side of the family was threatening to jump on me at the graveside. I'm like, I don't even, what's going on?
Oh my God.
You know, so they got kooky, you know, and they had to set one side of the family on one side and one side on the other side because they were fighting over his pickup truck and his 3 guitars. That was the only thing he had. So just take all that with a grain of salt.
And I've tried not to take it personally. And
Yeah.
again, during those few days, I was able to talk at one time or another with all 3 of their children, and they gave me information. I don't want to give you the impression that they were like just total jerks. I'm just saying, I don't think they understood the nature of our relationship.
The last thing I'll say, the last time I saw her, I was sitting where Leslie's sitting, and she was sitting where the lady is right there against the wall, and Ava was with me. And it was a week, I was turning 70 that week, and I told Dr. Sheila just out of the blue, I just reached up and said, Dr. Sheila, I turned 70 this coming Thursday. And she told me, she said, well, I turned 80 in January, I think's what she said. And we talked for a few minutes, and I think the other thing that bothered me about her passing, that morning she was full of life.
Yeah.
She was wide awake for a 79-year-old
doubt.
woman. She had driven
Went
up
to
here.
work every day.
She had life in her eyes. She was planning on living. And that can be a two-way thing. At least she didn't go through years of decline.
Agreed.
You know, and regardless of what anybody thinks, 80 years is a pretty damn
Agreed.
long run on this planet.
Agreed.
You know, so, but I remember this, and she told me the same thing my other 2 grandmothers told me. She told me, she said, enjoy your 70s because they'll go by real quick.
Yeah.
You know, she was just a sweet, gentle woman that I didn't know, but her death has, and I guess on top of it being Christmas, it has just opened up that sense of like, man, time is just short. You know, time is just short. And so that's all I want to say about her. I do know that she had a presence about her, and very stoic and very strong, and
authoritative. If
Yeah.
she said something, I believed it.
yeah.
You know?
The other thing too is I remember this about her, and this is just whatever. The only time I ever think I saw her get emotional, about a year or so ago, she was here and she talked about a granddaughter or something that had been given up for adoption that had reached out to her.
And she reconnected with her.
And she was emotional, and I thought, oh my God, you know. So
And that was very meaningful to her.
Yeah, it was very
They had a
meaningful.
very good connection.
yeah, so that's all I have to say about her is that her death affected me in ways I don't understand yet. It just really kind of it just kind of put me in a weird emotional vibe with it, you know, because when I heard she'd passed, I just thought, thank God she's gone, because I've been in the ICUs and seen what people go through.
Yeah, when we went at the last Thursday, he can tell you, would you have even known that was her? And I was like, Doc, you got to get out of here. This is not what you would want. Thank you, Eddie. I appreciate that.
I'd like to share about Dr. Sheila. I just want to honor her spirit. I think she's one of the most authentic, sincere people that I've encountered and not just at Metron, just in general. But I remember I had an opportunity to speak when we were at the theater, and I remember Dr. Schiller, after the service, in a very quiet way, she walked up to me and she embraced me. And in the exchange of us embracing, you know, she put money in my hand, very quietly, very secretly. And it wasn't never about the money, but it was just the fact of how pure her spirit was and is. And
Well,
how,
that's like a grandmother.
and
That's what a
just how-
grandmother does. Put
yeah.
a piece of money in your hand.
And it was, you know, of course I was very nervous to obviously speak in the forum where obviously you're a great teacher and spiritual orator, but something about her hugging me,
Sure.
the way she did it, and I was just like, wow, never about the money, but that she took that moment to embrace me, comfort me, be there as a spiritual authority. It was priceless, so I honor her.
I love that.
Not just in her absence, she's here. I mean, her spirit obviously is living through all of us.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that, Will. That's beautiful. I love that. Ernie?
I just wanted to say this, is that, I'm brief with this, is that she had a grandson, I believe his name was Tyrus.
Titus.
Right. And for some reason, when we were in the theater, my wife, Leona, started just joking around with him and just always pinched him on his cheeks.
Right.
And he was just all about it. I mean, he just didn't know what he was blushing and everything. And then one day, Dr. Sheila, one Sunday, she says, Leona, she says, I just want to tell you something. I don't know what it is that you have over my grandson, but he's totally admires you. He thinks that you are the greatest person. And she says, I just want to let you know that you really changed something in him, that he talks about you and whatnot. So,
Fred?
Just a couple of things. A couple of years ago, I was traveling, and I don't know what happened. Pain went from my back all the way down to my legs, and I could not move. We were engaged at the time, and I called her and told her, and just prayed all night. I don't know how I made it back, but I drove back in pain. I went to see Dr. Sheila. She was already adjusting me. I went to see Dr. Sheila. Not only did she adjust me, she prayed over me, and she said, I need you to go. This was, she was staying in the other building, to the chiropractor next door. He's going to have to help you through this because
Wow.
you need more than what I can give you.
Wow.
And I went there and saw him several times. For a while, I was dragging my foot. I couldn't even walk right. But by the time it was done with her help, her prayers, every time I saw him, she would check with me, readjust me. I got better.
And what a beautiful thing for her to suggest you go to somebody. I mean, what
Yes.
an unselfish thing.
Yes. She
You know.
said, what you need, I can't supply
That's
everything
beautiful.
for you, so I want you to go here. So she's always just looked out for everybody. My cousin used to go to her all the time. And as a matter of fact, it was him who started me to going. So she always just looked out for people. She was a giving woman.
I love this. See, y'all are telling me stuff I didn't know, so I'm so glad to hear this stuff. Ross?
I would like to say that she was very skilled and very accurate. I went to her, in fact, Henry introduced Fred and then introduced me to her practice, and she always had alkaline water. She introduced us to the power of alkaline water and the foot soak. So I tried the foot soak, and just that week before I had a physical, and the blood results came back. And so she read the enzymes or the deposits from my feet that was in the water, and it lined up 100% to the blood work results.
Wow.
And I was blown away. I said, wow, you really got it going on, sis. And she just chuckled. And I mean, it was just, she was such a sweet, kind, generous person. I can remember going, the alkaline water, getting that frequently. And then there would be men would come with their children, and she would just open the door and let the men of the neighborhood come in and get the bottles of water and leave, and she would meet them at the door, and I don't ever remember seeing money exchanging hands.
Right.
You know, she just valued water, and in giving the water, that was such an aid. You know, our bodies need water.
Yeah.
And so she was that presence in that neighborhood where she was just giving that love and that water to people that were thirsty to God's love.
That's
She was
beautiful,
it.
Roz.
She's the bomb.
Thank you for sharing that. Somebody else? Leslie? Leslie and LJ drove up, or Lisa drove up for this today. That's why they're here today. And let me also say this. Any of you that want to go next Saturday, you have my blessing. Please understand, it's not us versus them. I just have the feeling that if I were there, I would be kind of in the way. And I'm not saying that in any kind of dramatic way. I'm just saying that doesn't mean they're bad people. And she did love her practice and was very proud of it. So that's fine. But, you know, when Danny asked me this morning, are you going to say something about it? No, I'm not advertising it because it's not my thing. I'm not connected to it. So I need to make sure everybody understands that I'm not throwing her kids under the bus. Do you all understand that? All right. Go ahead.
Dr. Sheila, when we met 30 years ago, she was an old woman. And every day from the time that we got together, she got younger and younger and younger. And she helped me grow up. And her influence on my children, it just goes on forever. She had a gravitas. Mm-hmm. And if you ever met her mother, you would think that Dr. Sheila was the most effervescent person you'd ever met compared to her mother.
Interesting. Well, that explains a lot.
Yes. And I don't think that anybody really ever knew her deep waters, because that was not what was the priority. And she had such an intellect, such a curiosity, that she just continued to grow, learn something every single day, open to what God would present. And she was an authority. Her voicemail has been full for decades. If she could talk to you and give you what she wanted to give you, which was so much love, then she would answer the telephone. But if not, I knew that I could call and hear her say, Dr. Sheila Belanger. And I would straighten my ass up right then. She never judged people. She just met us all where we were. It didn't matter if you didn't smell too good or you didn't have any money. And she never she was truly anonymous. That's a joke now, you know, but she really was. the silent giver. And she wouldn't have wanted it to be any other way. She was very clear on her purpose. She used to do the handbell choir, and she took notes. She was an excellent military wife. But the letter was killing her, and the Spirit set her free. And I feel like that this is very much when Barack Obama lost his grandmother right before he was elected. I feel like that Dr. Sheila had to go to the other side and surround us with
It is
our
necessary that
purpose
I
too.
go away. Yeah.
Dr. Sheila was very open about the possibility of past lives. She felt like that she had been an Indian chief on the land where she was raised, and she loved Maine so much that I never knew her to do anything illegal except dig up 2 hemlocks and bring them in her purse through the airport for me so I could have a little Maine. She would want you to recognize the divine feminine that is in all of us. And she would tell you to not stay stuck in your heart, to go down into the very root in the womb that we all carry, and to nurture that fire, and then it just flows. Just go inward and become one with the divine, and do the best with whatever family, country, ideology that surrounds you. And I love you, Dr. Sheila, and I know you're here with us. And I know you'll always be here. And I thank you. I thank you for being just exactly as you were.
You say something, Lisa? Anybody else want to say anything? Tricia? Kim, would you get that?
I didn't know Dr. Sheila. I saw her here and whatnot. But I had an encounter with Dr. Sheila one Sunday after Metron. I had had my back surgery. I think I had Ubered here that Sunday. And I had been having a tremendous amount of nerve pain. She walked over to me and she said to me, she said, "Can I put my hands on you?" And I said, "Yeah, of course." And I said, "Yeah." And she put her hands
Hang
on
up.
me.
Hold it, Tricia, because I want this to pick up. BJ, you need this one? You need this one? Here, just take that. We're going to get this. We're going to have this service today. Technology be damned.
Electronic stuff is you hear about it in lots of discussions, and I have video of those lights doing things. I was thinking the same.
I know.
Yeah.
Who does lights on strobing like that? I was noticing that too.
I can video. Yeah, so she's overloading the
No,
circuit.
listen, I know you're self-effacing and you don't want us to talk about it. Would you please stop interfering? We would like to honor you. I'm sorry you're embarrassed by this, but deal with it. Go ahead.
So she laid her hands on me, and I felt this electricity go from the top of my head all the way down my spine. It was something I'll never forget. I said it was like an encounter. It wasn't like somebody just laid her hands on you. There was something there, and she looked at me and she goes, "Did you feel that?" And I said, "Yeah, I felt that." And the nerve pain never came back after that. I had other pain, but I didn't have that god-awful nerve pain. And I saw her several weeks later. She came back, and I saw her outside, and I said, "Oh, I need to tell you," I said, "and nerve pain's gone." And she's like, "Yep." She's just a very quiet lady, but like she didn't say much, but like she had a presence. Like I pick up on people's energy, and a few times I sat over that side and I would be behind her, and you could just feel her. She's very much like alive, I mean, even just sitting here listening, And I watched a documentary recently about Andrea Gibson, and they said something that when I heard that Dr. Sheila passed, it just came rushing back to me, and it's that when people go to the other side, when they die, they're reincarnated. The best of them is reincarnated in each one of us who've known them while we're alive. And I thought to myself, what a beautiful picture of this beautiful woman being alive in each and every one of us that have encountered her. And I do believe she's very much present.
Tricia, while you still got the mic, tell them what happened this week. It'd be nice to hear some good news.
I got the results from my most recent PET scan, and
How often do you have to have them?
every 3 months. And it again showed no evidence of active disease. So we're going on 6 months of no evidence of active disease, which is, it is.
I'm telling you, every time she walks in here, I'm amazed. If I told you her diagnosis, you'd be like, no, that can't be right. Like, usually people that have that are in a bed somewhere. And she didn't live closer. She was probably farther away than me, And anyway, that was good news. She had other good news too, but we'll leave it at that. But it's good. And you saw a rainbow.
Yeah.
So that's cool. Who else? Beth?
I really loved Dr. Sheila. I didn't see her often, even when I was living in Conyers. But the one thing I can say about her and her constant, everybody's related today about her constant. She was constantly present. She was constantly gentle. She was constantly generous. There was just such a sweetness and innocence about her. And I think the things that touched me most about her was she was one of a few people. I went through hell from about 2008 to about 2017. And it's between God and His mercy and some very dear people, including her, and some meds, trust me, I wouldn't be here. And I know it. the people who touched my life, you know, they always say when you're going through hard things, you find out who your real friends are. We were never real close, but I always knew she was there. And those hugs, I thought about that again this week. Hugging each other close to our hearts. And I think I'll probably do that the rest of my life. Just because it reminds me of her. I mean, hell, I carry this purple bag every time I come. Purple was Das's favorite color. And I think of her about that. Dear people. And she has left an indelible mark.
Beautiful. Thanks, Beth. Lisa, would you pass that?
Dr. Sheila also taught me how to hug properly. When you hold your heart to heart, it was beautiful. She was giving me an adjustment one day, and it really taught me about the level of empathy and compassion she had, mixed with her genius. And I got off the table, and she was crying. And it just really struck me. And she had a way of going into somebody's body and seeing what was wrong. And all she said was, "I'm so sorry." It really touched me. And it was helpful for me. It wasn't about, "Oh yeah, woe is me." It was about, "Thank you." And then she told me something all the time. In every way, every day, in every way, you're going to get better and better and better. And she asked me, "Do I have permission to go inside you and see what's wrong?" And so she visualized it, and she said, "I see exactly what's wrong." And she told me what it was. And every day I get up and I say that, and I'll say it every day, all day. But she helped me learn about healing yourself.
Yeah.
And she was powerful with that. And I will always be grateful for what she taught me. And I love her very dearly.
A couple of things, we probably don't have to go into detail, but Lisa also just said recently had a miracle. I'll just say she had a long-standing, it was a settlement that, from an accident that she had. It's been a nightmare. And it was finally settled like a week or so ago.
Yes.
Which is like a huge blessing. But you know, when you were saying that, I was thinking, I don't think I ever did a counseling appointment with Sheila, but I knew enough of the story. She'd been through some stuff in her life. Some stuff that would be like, "Oh my God, that happened to you?" And it's like people that suffer either can become bitter or they can become empaths. And you were saying because she did say when I was talking about when he had a stroke, she said, she didn't ask permission, she just said, "I'm going inside Ken right now," and she was like, it helped save him. And, but I don't know that unless you've been through some stuff, I don't know that I remember watching Renewal, a book one time called The Release of the Spirit, and he talked about how the spirit and the soul are like, he used the symbolism of an acorn. Can y'all hear me? Of an acorn. And I was talking like Charlie Chaplin over here. Okay, there I am. That when the shell is broken, the inside of it is able to be released. And he was talking about how suffering can do two things, and it can release your spirit to help other people, and I think that was the case with us, because even
That's not perceived to call
even in her current living situation, and again, no judgment, but it's a lot of stress for a woman her age to have to deal with some of the stuff she was dealing with. And that was the part of me early. If y'all remember, I did in 11/11 when it first happened, I said, I hope she wants to stay here. And I'm not totally sure she wasn't ready for some things.
Yeah.
And That's why I said last week, even, we got the situation resolved about the cat, but I was feeling desperate about it because I'm living with, and I totally understood his point, but I'm like, what am I gonna do? And I remember I brought him downstairs and said, I need to talk to both of y'all. Why people just wanna, you can't live in a stressful situation. Stress on your job is one thing, but living with it in your house, it'll take a toll on you. And I can see why people say, I want out. I don't know how to resolve it. I don't know if that's the case with her. But anyway, somebody else, thanks for sharing that.
I don't know Dr. Sheila that.
Wellington is fine. He felt like he was coming down with a cold. He didn't really expose y'all, so he's being over.
I don't know Dr. Sheila that well, but she introduced me to this heart-to-heart connection. And when she embraced me, I just feel that embrace, so real. What I want to say is, I know the physical body is going away, but I know the spirit is still here. I could remember back when I was much younger, my little brother passed away. And during our culture, when a mother loses a son, the family take her away and keep her for some time before she come back home. So they took my mother away. And then I got sick. I was really sick. I had typhoid, I had jaundice. And my brother who passed away went to my mother and told my mother that to come and treat me. So I know that Dr. Sheila is here in spirit.
Your brother had already passed on, but he talked to your mom?
He talked to my mother to go and take me from where I was because I was sick. So I just want to say that she's here in spirit, and if you talk with her, you will hear from her.
Yes. And that it's okay to talk to people that have, when people misquote Leviticus, because, you know, in Leviticus, you were forbidden to talk to the dead. They're not dead. They're alive. They're part of the great cloud of witnesses. Thanks, Will. Thanks, Tom. Somebody else? We'll do a couple more and then we'll wrap it up.
Well, Dr. Sheila had a wonderful sense of humor. I remember we were at St. Simon's the second time, and we were all sitting there. She hadn't showed up yet, and we were almost halfway through, and I said, "What took you so long?" She says, "You won't believe it. I drove all over this island trying to look for this beach." And so she has had me cracking up about that, you know. And then I recall one other time when we had a ugly sweater contest, and I went out and I wanted the ugliest thing I could find, you know. And so when we showed up, we were in the theater there in Midtown, and I said, "Well, where's your ugly sweater?" She said, "Well, you got to be kidding." She said, "I paid too much money for this sweater for this thing to be called ugly, you know." So I said, "Oh, well, this is mine." She said, "Oh, it's just wonderful." So when we had a vote, I only got 2 votes that night. I think that was Gloria and Dr. Sheila. She was the only one. The 2 of them voted for me, and I didn't win. It was another gentleman and his wife that won.
Too handsome, David.
But she had a wonderful, wonderful sense of humor about her, and I just love that about her.
Kenneth?
Dr. Sheila was a soft-spoken lady, but when she spoke, you felt it. At the heart-to-heart, she said, "You can hug me how you want to, but you always going to do heart-to-heart because that's where the connection is." I think one of the most powerful things I felt with her was at the beach on Rhonda's husband, Alan, when she was drawing out of his back. It's like I felt every tug when she did that. So I know there was healing in her. She also told me after she saw me after I had my little episode, don't you ever stop taking your meds. I told her, you don't have to worry about that. But she was just one of the kindest, sweetest ladies that would, you always felt her when she was at these meditation things. She'd speak to you and it just would resonate with you. Everything she said. And she's just a wonderful lady, so full of love and kindness. But I think I know she's touched everyone in here in different ways. And she'll always be here too. She'll still be at the meditations. She'll just be laying her hands on all of us in a different way.
All right. We'll end it there. If you want to, if there's something you wanted to say and you think about it later, just post it online and I'll be sure to see it. Doc, I believe you can hear us. And we want you to be at peace, and we love you, and we thank you for the impartation you've made into each of our lives. Of course, we will not forget you. I believe you're part of a great cloud of witnesses. So, say hello to Leona for us, and Sammy, and Patrick, and Doss. Who am I forgetting? Joe, obviously. I'll always be with you. Wait, you're doing it wrong. Oh, yeah.
Hey, Jim, in the years ahead, when we all gather and chat and we go to St. Simon's, we'll take her with us.
Yeah. You know, I've loved every Sunday we've ever been here, but man, I wouldn't take anything for those times we've gone out of town. There's just something so different about them. You know, to come away and they've always, something magical's always happened. And did you all want to say anything? Okay, I know. Listen, thanks for what you shared, because every one of you said something I didn't know. So that was good. I was trying to remember, Leslie, you mentioned about her mom. I remember one year we did a Christmas party at Maison Rouge, at Paris and Ponce. And when she was leaving, I walked her to her car. I said, let me walk with you. Because I want her, as I've done with many of y'all. But as we're walking, she said, she was telling me she had a good time. And I said, well, I'm really glad you came. And she said, she was wearing, for whatever about wearing fur. She said, do you see my coat? I said, yeah. She goes, this is my mother's mink coat. I said, oh, well, it's beautiful. And she said, it's the only thing she ever. I just remember that walk. Let me tell you, people have been through stuff in their life. And I tell you something else. Just because you have a gift to give it to other people doesn't mean you don't have to process it yourself. And when you've gone through trauma in your life, the body keeps it. Do you know? And I know, some of the best sermons I've ever done when people are like, oh my God, that was totally for me. I'm like, I'm glad you enjoyed it, but that was for me. I was talking to myself. That's what I needed to hear. I'm glad you got in on it, but that was not for you. That was for me. It was for us. I mean, everything's for us. Unto us a child is born. But, she could heal so many of us, and which is why, again, I wish I'd been a part of this when it first happened. But it is what it is. I'm going to have to make peace with this. I'm going to have to make peace with her passing. Making peace with it doesn't mean you don't grieve. And even you mentioned, Eddie, you said this, but I saw a meme last night. It said something about be sensitive to people right now. Grief is harder to carry in December. And I think that probably is true for people. Since I mentioned, Herman never came to Metron, but he was, he's part of that. I know your mom, Ken's had really close people to him. He's got a friend, she's like our age, but she's married to an older man, and just got a pacemaker, did 2 surgeries that it was $1 million for 2 surgeries, and got home and sat there and had one day together, and he just standing in the kitchen. Ken went and stayed with her Thursday night, and she was so shocked because it looked like, and I'm not trying to bring the room down, and I know there's many of us, believe me, I'd be lying if I said this, what Dr. Sheila went with definitely has gotten my attention, because I can't be naive to that. And I'm believing for the total best for everybody. Everybody. But time is going fast. And buddy, you better carpe those diems because they're flying by. Even as challenging sometimes as my current situation is. It's not all horrible. We actually love the house. It's starting to feel like home now, and at some point I'm probably going to sell the loft, and is what it is. But the garbage has to be taken down on Tuesday night. Like we have certain rituals. Tuesday night, I consolidate all the garbage, take it down to the curb. I feel like I'm doing it every Tuesday. Like this past Tuesday, I was like, has another week gone by? I mean, I feel like I did this 5 minutes ago. We always do the laundry on Sundays. And as we're folding it, I always say, it's always Sunday. And I feel like we just did this. And when it's a thing that you got to do every week, you notice like, oh, another one, and another one, and another one. That's why I called, I called Howie this week, and I was saying some stuff to him and that I could probably only say to him. And he said, I tell you what we need to do. I said, what? When I first met him, we were assigned a campus apartment. I'm about to let you go. We were assigned a campus apartment. There was 6 of us living there. He wasn't even in my room, but he was assigned to the next room. And as I'm moving my stuff in, I pass him. He's standing in the bathroom, just standing there. I just see it, with his hands on his hips. And he says a word that I thought my grandmother had made up. He said, it smells like pure. He said the word. And I said, what did you just say? That was before I ever said hello. I said, what did you just say? And he said the word. I said, I thought that was a word that was only in my family. He said, my family said it for years. So early on, I said, I feel like I'm related to you. You feel like a cousin. Because even my kids have said, well, because Howie's gay. And my kids said, did you and Howie ever talk? I said, Howie's like I've never thought of him that way. I mean, he's like I feel like I'm related to him. Well, come to find out, we are related. He's done this genealogy. We have a common ancestor who fought in the War of 1812. His fathers fought in the Revolutionary War. I had no idea I had ancestors. And he said every time, because my grandmother's maiden name was Tomberlin, and he said every time you say Tomberlin, I'm like, I got Tomberlins in my family. Well, he's done the research and found the guy's grave. He said, let's meet halfway. He said, it's about 3 hours from you. It'll be about 4 something from me. And let's go. And I'm like, heck yeah. When do we go? I'm so looking forward to it. And I don't know what, I guess we're just going to go find the guy's grave and take a picture and then drive back to Atlanta. But I really want to do it because he said, I always felt like we were related. And we are. We're like cousins, 4th removed or something. Isn't that crazy? And I had no idea I got relatives that fought in the Revolutionary War. Who knew? So, and I'm saying that to say, if you want to do something, better go ahead and do it. Because you don't know when the opportunity is going to be there again.
Hey, Jim, for me, her death, Dr. Sheila's death, will help me bring more clarity into this year that I'm going through.
I completely agree.
And it will for anybody in here.
I completely agree.
People pass unexpectedly like that. Whatever's out of focus can quickly come into focus so I get it going.
I completely agree. Just a few months ago, it was when we were already living back at the house, my Uncle Don and Clarice came over for might have been their birthday. Yeah, I think it was. He came over to see Mom's his twin sister. And I said, well, let me take a picture of y'all. And they stood up and I took a picture. And I clearly heard this will be the last picture you ever take of them together. And short of some miracle, it probably will be. Because he hasn't stood up in 2 months. I mean, Mom doesn't even realize how bad his situation is. And, sometimes like my kids get so aggravated because I take so many pictures. I'm like, I'm sorry, but this is going to happen. We can do it nice or we can do it mean, but I never know, when, not that anything's going to happen to them, but you know what I mean. You just have to hold on to every moment. But yes, to your point, in honor of all of our loved ones who have gone to the other side, but especially she's the one. Let's have an extraordinary 2026. Yeah. Let's do it in honor of them. Let's make every day count. Let's live your real authentic life. Follow your bliss. Do what you want to do. Don't be afraid to put yourself first. Do you hear me? I'm all for service and going the extra mile, but take care of you.
Don't worry about turning 85 because you may never get there.
Well, let's all stand. On the way over here, I just wanted to hear some classic Christmas carols by the Mormon Tabernacle Choir. And I couldn't find them. Every channel's playing Marshmallow World and Jingle Bells. I'm like, that's good, but I want to hear Leonard Bernstein. And I was listening to them. They were so beautiful. And just as before I turned the radio off, I was hearing, oh, come, let us adore him. Oh, come, let us adore him. Oh, come, let us adore him, Christ the Lord. Go in peace. I love you. Go live your life. What?
I just got something, Sheila.
Yeah.
I need to pass out.
Okay. Say what you got to say.
Everybody reach out to Bishop. She said, my hands are touching all of us to touch you. Her hands are a gift. Her anointing, her flow is coming to you. Give you peace, give you grace, give you mercy. All the rest of this week and the rest of the year.
Thank you, Dale. I receive it. Absolutely. Thank you. Thanks for obeying the Holy Spirit.